By now, everyone knows that the Darksaber is a pretty important item in the history of the Star Wars mythology. We first saw it in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and this ancient blade has proven to be one extremely important symbol for the Mandalorian people and culture. For Mandalorians, the Darksaber is a symbol of leadership to whoever holds it. This magnificent weapon can unite Mandalorians across all tribes, clans, houses, and creeds. It's been wielded by many great warriors throughout the history of Star Wars, but as of right now, it is in the hands of the Mandalorians, Din Djarin. Djarin, however, doesn't understand the full power of this weapon and its history. So why can Din Djarin wield this mighty weapon? And why is he unable to give it away? Well, we first gotta talk about the beginning with Tar Vizsla. The Darksaber is a unique lightsaber. It's a one-of-a-kind, and it was constructed specifically for Tar Vizsla. Vizsla was the first Mandalorian who was inducted into the Jedi Order, and after her passing, the Jedi Order kept the Darksaber. In Star Wars Rebels, Fen Rao revealed that members of House Vizsla infiltrated the Jedi Order and stole the Darksaber. By wielding the powerful blade, the members of House Vizsla were able to strike down all of their enemies and rule over all of Mandalore. It is a highly respected weapon, and all of the Mandalorian clans know about it. The Darksaber remained in the House Vizsla line until the events of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, a series that is set before the events of Revenge of the Sith. During the Clone Wars, we saw a strict traditionalist splinter faction of the Mandalorians known as Death Watch. They attempted a coup on Mandalore to restore the old warrior ways and traditions of Mandalore. The group wasn't too fond of the pacifist regime of the new Mandalorians, spearheaded by Duchess Satine Kryze. At the time of the coup, Death Watch's leader was Pre Vizsla. He is a descendant of Tar Vizsla and was the wielder of the Darksaber. Pre Vizsla and his one-time ally, wait for it, Darth Maul, would then have a battle that would end with his death. The Darksaber's ownership was then transferred to Maul. So it appears, with the Darksaber, there is a keep what you kill rule. Or at least it seems like it in the Clone Wars. We all know that the Mandalorians have many old warrior traditions, and that a one-on-one duel to the death is extremely sacred. The winner of the duel not only gets the loser's weapon, but also their title. So as a result, Maul walked away with one amazing weapon, and he became the new leader of Mandalore. Now, did you know that the weapon is then taken by Sabine Wren? And not through combat? So for some time, this mighty weapon resided in the lair of the Night Sister. Their lair is on Darth Maul's home planet of Dathomir, and it wasn't until later during the Galactic Civil War that members of the Ghost Crew, Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren, discovered the Darksaber in the Night Sister lair. The blade then fell to Sabine. She became the new owner of this weapon by simply picking it up. There was no duel for possession or ownership. However, if we were to go by their strict decrees, technically Obi-Wan Kenobi should have gotten the Darksaber, since he was the one who went against Maul in their final duel in Episode 3 of the Clone Wars. Anyway, Sabine held possession of the Darksaber, and Kanan Jarrus attempted to teach her how to use such a powerful weapon. With the help of her friends, Sabine was able to keep the weapon out of the hands of Viceroy Gar Saxon, the new leader of Mandalore, while the planet was under the control of the Galactic Empire. Did you know that Saxon was a puppet rule under the control of Papa Palps? I mean, Emperor Palpatine? So, with the help of her mother, Sabine was able to defeat Saxon and his brother. She liberated Mandalore from Imperial control and redeemed herself by destroying an Imperial superweapon called the Duchess, a weapon that she helped build when she was an Imperial cadet. So despite how she initially got possession of the blade, Sabine's deeds were apparently enough to view her as the rightful owner of the Darksaber. She then handed off the weapon to Bo-Katan in a public ceremony, and no one objected.
Accept this sword for my sister, for my clan, and for all of Mandalore.
So this means that transferring ownership is as simple as just handing it over. No fight to the death is needed. Now, in The Mandalorian Season 2, we saw this discrepancy again. Throughout Season 2 of the series, it was clear that the newly resurfaced Bo-Katan Kryze was in pursuit of Imperial Remnant leader Moff Gideon. Somehow, someway, Moff Gideon gained possession of the weapon, and it most likely happened during the Great Purge of Mandalore. However, the details aren't actually clear. In the finale of Season 2, Din Djarin defeats Gideon in a fight where they were the only ones present, and at that time Moff Gideon had the Darksaber. At the end of the fight, Djarin walks away victorious and took the legendary blade from Gideon. So at that point, technically the blade belonged to Djarin. But he immediately tried to give the weapon to Bo-Katan Kryze. She was aboard Gideon's Imperial cruiser and wouldn't accept the blade. Gideon explained this when he said that she wouldn't take it. She would need to defeat Djarin in a battle if she wants to wield the Darksaber again. None of these rules regarding the Darksaber make any sense. No one saw Djarin beat Gideon, and why wouldn't the few remaining individuals on Gideon's ship agree to turn a blind eye and say that Djarin was defeated in combat by Bo-Katan? So it seems as if different factions and splinter groups have different rules. This might be the reason why we saw the Mandalorians before the Mandalorian series remove their helmets, and the Children of the Watch started a new rule that they can't remove their helmets. So what does the future hold for the Darksaber? Well, for now, Din Djarin is in control of the Darksaber in the Mandalorian, although he hasn't ignited it yet. Bo-Katan and the Children of the Watch are still aware that he has the blade, and hopefully as Season 3 goes on, we'll see more and more of our favorite Mandalorian using this powerful weapon. An interesting fact before we go, did you know that the Darksaber gets heavier in combat? In Episode 3 of Star Wars Rebels, we saw Sabine Wren training with this tricky weapon for the first time, and Kanan Jarrus was acting as her instructor. She ignited the weapon and said that the Darksaber feels heavier than she thought, and Jarrus was eager to explain why. According to a runaway Jedi, the Darksaber is much harder to wield than your average lightsaber. Jarrus said that energy constantly flows through the crystal. He said that Sabine isn't fighting with a simple blade, she is directing a current of power. Her thoughts and actions become energy that flows through the crystal, and they become a part of the blade. So basically, if someone lacks control and acceptance of their thoughts and feelings, or those with an undisciplined fighting style will find the blade much heavier to hold. All of this inner baggage will channel into the blade and weigh it down. So this is the end of the video. Let us know what you think about the Darksaber and what you would like to see happen with it in The Mandalorian. Leave us a comment, and we'll see you in the next video.